Hello y'all, welcome back to another video dedicated to help you break out of any toxic behaviors or patterns in your relationship or personal life. My name is Coach Jeanette from @Jeanette.xvito on TikTok and Instagram, and if you like anything personal growth or relationship growth, make sure you click subscribe and join the tribe. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the 4 types of communication that you should avoid in your relationships because it leads to separation. What we're going to be discussing is also known as Gottman's 4 Horsemen of Apocalypse. Through his studies, he predicted with 94% accuracy that couples who exhibited these 4 types of communication styles led to divorce within 6 years of their relationship. Now, if you were never modeled healthy relationships growing up, a lot of these communication styles are quite common. So if you're looking for solutions, make sure you watch till the end for some tips to help you create healthy communication. The first type of communication style that you want to avoid is destructive criticism towards your partner's character. So this doesn't mean anything that is constructive or honest criticism that you can give to your partner to encourage them to grow. Rather, it is intentional criticism meant to harm your partner's reputation, self-esteem, or undermine them. And usually this criticism attacks your partner's character rather than a behavior that they exhibited. So for example, how many times do I have to tell you to wash the dishes? Are you that lazy? You know how annoying you are when you always bring up your issues? Stop being so sensitive. You shouldn't eat that. It's gonna make you look worse. If you listen closely, destructive criticism lacks one thing, which is compassion. And sometimes you might hear your partner try to justify the criticism, saying they're just being helpful or they're trying to be honest. Truth is, honesty without compassion is cruelty. There's nothing helpful about attacking your partner's character. In fact, when we say things like, "You're lazy, you're annoying, you don't look good," the only thing it's gonna make your partner wanna do is become defensive. Which leads us to our next type of communication that we want to avoid, which is becoming defensive every time conflict arises. And look, it's normal to be defensive here and there in arguments. I'm guilty of it because the truth is no one likes feeling like they're being attacked in an argument. But if you are defensive every single time conflict arises, that is going to make your partner feel unseen, unheard, or misunderstood. It's important to take responsibility and accountability in your part of the relationship as well. So instead of becoming defensive right away, we want to make sure that we are listening to our partner. Now, the third type of communication style that we want to avoid is stonewalling or ignoring your partner whenever you're upset. Now, there are different ways this type of communication can manifest. The first way is if your partner comes up to you and they tell you, "Hey, I've been meaning to talk to you about something that is upsetting me, and we really haven't gotten time to talk about this." And your response is just to keep quiet or tell them, "I don't want to talk about it. Can we just talk about it later?" And every single time your partner brings it up, you keep shutting them down and you keep telling them you don't want to talk about it. Now, the second way this type of communication can manifest is if you don't say anything at all. So say your partner did something to upset you, but you don't want to bring it up to them because you don't like confrontation, or you think that your partner should just figure it out. So you stay quiet and you ignore them until they notice that you're visibly upset. And when they ask about it, you continue to keep quiet and wait till they figure it out. Now, the issue with this is that your partner cannot read your mind and you cannot expect them to. Unless you've clearly communicated your boundaries before, shutting down is only going to leave them confused and hurt. The truth is, we all perceive things differently because we have different experiences growing up. And the only productive way to solve a conflict is by speaking up and communicating to them. Now, the third way this type of communication can be displayed is if you end up keeping the issues to yourself and keeping tabs on it mentally. So say your partner always plays video games after work and doesn't talk to you. And instead of bringing it up to them and communicating something like, "Hey, I know you're tired after work, but it's also really important for me to get some communication and alone time with you because it makes me feel loved, important. So what do you think? Maybe we can work something out." You go ahead and ignore them and not bring it up to them because you don't want to be annoying or you don't want to bother them or you think they should know what to do. So what ends up happening is that you continue to withdraw from them or build up this resentment silently until you either A, completely withdraw from them one day, or 2, blow up and start venting to them. Now, the common pattern between any type of silent treatment or stonewalling is that you're trying to ignore your problems in the relationship until you can't no more. But issues in the relationship don't just disappear, and you can't just hope that they'll go away. Our fourth and last type of communication style that we want to try to avoid is acting in contempt. Now, having feelings of contempt for someone usually means that you view the other person badly and even sometimes beneath you. So acting in contempt is any actions or behaviors that display anger or disgust towards a person. This can be exasperately sighing, name-calling, passive aggressiveness, or even spiteful behavior. So for example, you want to go to Target and you ask your partner, "Hey, can we go to Target please?" And they respond with, "Oh, fine. I mean, didn't we go last week though?" And their annoyance in their body language and tone of voice will set you off and make you feel bad or guilty. There are both extreme and subtle ways of showing contempt, and more of a subtle way can be sarcasm or mocking. But don't confuse this with playful mocking. This is most likely intentional and malicious. Another subtle way of acting in contempt is exasperately sighing, or sighing in annoyance. And a more extreme way of showing contempt is directly displaying anger or disgust. So for example, "You eat like a pig, have some manners. You're always crying and being so dramatic. Stop being such a..." Now that you know the 4 types of communication that you should avoid, let's talk about some of the solutions that will help you fix this. But before we get into some solutions, I want to quickly add a disclaimer, which is if you are or if you suspect that you are in a relationship with a narcissist, none of these solutions are gonna work. In fact, the only solution that's gonna work is if you leave them, because if you try these solutions with your narcissist, the only thing that's gonna happen is that you're going to be in a worse place than you were in the beginning of the relationship, because they're gonna start gaslighting you with some of these solutions. So if you do have these suspicions and need more private consultation on where your relationship stands, make sure to message me on Instagram at Jeanette.xzito. But with that said, let's talk about some of the solutions, starting with destructive criticism. Now, Dr. Gottman suggests that 95% of how you start a conversation usually indicates how the conversation is going to go, which means we want to be cognizant of how we start our conversations, which is where he suggests to have a gentle startup. Instead of criticizing or attacking your partner, saying things like, "I feel XYZ" is more effective. It's really important to distinguish the difference between "you make me feel" and "I feel." We don't want to say "you make me feel" because it gives your partner a sense that you're still attacking them, because they can personalize that statement. But your partner cannot personalize your emotions. So when you say "I feel," it gives you a chance to own up to your emotions and step into vulnerability. Another gentle startup that Dr. Gottman suggests is saying statements like, "I appreciate you when you do XYZ." When you show appreciation and gratitude towards your partner, it makes your partner want to listen to you more. The goal of any type of conflict is making each other feel seen, heard, and listened to. Now, as a relationship coach, another tip that I want to personally suggest is opening up the conversation by validating your partner. Any triggers or wounds that make them defensive or close up really quickly, make sure that you let them know that that's not your intention. So for example, if you know that your partner doesn't like feeling like a bad partner or doesn't like criticism, you can open up the conversation with, "Hey, I wanted to let you know that you've been a great partner recently, and I just wanted to talk to you about something important to me. I've been feeling XYZ, and then lead the conversation that way." Or you can start it off with, "Hey, I'm not trying to criticize you, or I'm not saying that you're a bad partner at all, but I just want to bring something up to you that caught my attention recently. You might not have noticed this, but I've been feeling because of and then continue the conversation that way. Now, moving on to solutions for defensiveness. Now, when we're constantly defensive, we're placing blame on our partner and continuously deflecting. The first thing that we want to do is take a step back and really listen to our partner. And what we need to do is accept responsibility for anything that we've done wrong. And if your partner thinks that they've never done anything wrong in the relationship, that is a red flag. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, if you need to take a break to process your emotions because it's really easy to become defensive, especially in the heat of the moment, make sure that you let your partner know. You can say something like, "Hey, I just need a 5 to 10 minute break right now to process my emotions," or even maybe we should take like 30 minutes to do our own thing and then come back to this argument afterwards to just talk about what's going on. Now, moving on to solutions for stonewalling. When we're stonewalling, our body is in a physiological state of fight or flight. When we're in the sympathetic mode, our brain is thinking about survival. So we either withdraw completely to protect ourselves, or we continue to blow up or yell because we're in panic mode. Instead of directly going into rewiring some of our thoughts or communicating with our partner, what we want to do instead is physically self-soothe our body. So this can be breathing exercises, grounding exercises, journaling, writing, or even visualizing. Remind your body and mind that it's safe to feel your emotions and talk about them. I want to build a positive association with conflict and being able to overcome it. Now lastly, solutions for acting in contempt. Now acting in contempt is actually the #1 predictor that ends relationships, because having feelings of disgust or resentment towards your partner is more of a personal issue that can't really be communicated. So what we want to do is be able to appreciate your partner a lot more. Instead of concentrating on all the negative things that your partner does, we want to slowly start to appreciate some of the positive things that they do. And the first way we can start doing that is by not assuming or expecting our partner to act a certain way. Because when we write stories about what we wish our partner was like, we start separating reality from fantasy. And this disconnect from what you want them to be like and what they're really like is going to fuel your resentment. So instead of having expectations, what we want are standards. If expectations are about them and standards make it about us. So what are we willing and not willing to accept? What are our non-negotiables? What are our bare minimums? And start setting boundaries around those areas first. The second thing that you want to do is just start appreciating your partner for how they really are like in reality. Without the expectations or assumptions, start seeing them for who they really are like and compliment them. Find pockets of time throughout your day to learn their love language and express your love language to them. So what ways do they feel loved the most, and show them that. And if you don't know where your love language is, make sure that you take the free quiz links below and then comment below what your love language is. With that said, that is it for today's video. I hope that has helped you start communicating in the right direction. If you're looking for more guidance in overcoming obstacles in your relationship, message me on Instagram at Jeanette.xvito. Also, join our lovely Facebook group, The Generational Trauma Breakers, for more support and love during your growth journey. Thank you again for watching today's video. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and as always, you got this.